I want you to picture retirement for a second. Just close your eyes. What pops into your head? Is it a rocking chair on a wraparound porch?
Right. Or maybe a quiet little condo in Boca Raton.
Exactly. Maybe it's just this idea of slowing down, reading a book, downsizing into a much smaller, quieter life.
That's definitely the traditional view, the so-called sunset years. It implies a total deceleration.
Yeah, but today we are looking at a document, a massive property dossier, that suggests the future of retirement, or at least the future of active adult living in Florida, looks a lot less like a rocking chair and a lot more like a high-tech private club.
It really does.
We're doing a deep dive into one specific house, 31493 Cannon Rush Drive in San Antonio, Florida.
And on the surface, this is just the standard real estate listing for a two-bedroom house. But if you actually dig into the engineering reports, the tax assessments, the community bylaws included in the stack, it becomes this fascinating case study.
It's a masterclass.
Right. It represents a massive shift in how we build, how we live, and frankly, how we spend our money in our later years.
Yeah. So our mission today is pretty simple. We are going to unpack exactly what $445,000 actually buys you in the Florida market in early 2026. But we aren't just looking at the pretty photos of the kitchen.
No, we have to look deeper.
Right. We're going to look at the resortification of the suburbs, the hidden costs behind those amenities, and the specific engineering that goes into simply surviving the Florida climate.
And we absolutely have to talk about the water. Because this house, it isn't near the ocean. It's completely landlocked, but it has a beach.
We will definitely get to the fake beach because that is a whole story in itself. But let's start with the basics, the bones of the deal. We are looking at a single-family home. It's situated in a community called Mirada. Vital statistics here. It's listed at $445,000 as of January 24th, 2026.
Mm-hmm.
It is just under 2,000 square feet, 1,958 to be exact. 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms.
Which, right off the bat, tells you something about the target demographic. A 2,000 square foot house with only 2 bedrooms means the rooms are big.
Yeah, huge living spaces.
Exactly. This isn't about cramming in a big family or maximizing the bedroom count for resale value to a young couple. It's about maximizing space for the people who actually live there right now. It is a very selfish floor plan in the best possible way.
And that build date 2021. In real estate, we often gloss over the year built, unless it's, historic. But in Florida, seeing 2021 on a listing is a huge deal, isn't it?
Oh, it's probably the single most important data point on the entire sheet.
Why is that?
Because of the building codes. Florida's building codes have gone through massive overhauls, particularly after the major storms in the mid-2000s and then again more recently. A house built in 2021 is engineered to a completely different standard than one built in 2010, and certainly vastly different from one built in the 90s.
So when the listing makes a point to say block construction and stucco, that isn't just an aesthetic choice.
No, that is a survival choice. Concrete block construction is the gold standard in hurricane zones for a reason. It handles wind loads significantly better than a wood frame. But it's also about thermal mass.
Holding the temperature.
Right. Concrete holds temperature. In a climate where the heat factor is rated 9 out of 10, which we see in the environmental report, that block construction keeps the energy bills from skyrocketing. It keeps the cool air trapped inside.
The listing also really highlights a tile roof. Now, I know tile looks nice. It gives it that classic Mediterranean or Spanish vibe we see everywhere down there. But is it actually functionally better? Or is it just more expensive to fix when a branch falls on it?
Well, it's both, honestly. But from an engineering standpoint, tile roofs, specifically the modern concrete or clay tiles installed post-2015, they generally have much higher wind uplift resistance than your standard asphalt shingles.
Because they're heavier.
Exactly. They are heavy. In a high wind event, you want heavy. They act as a physical shield. So when you see tile roof in a Florida listing, you should immediately read that as insurance discount.
Okay, that is a crucial takeaway. The materials directly impact the carry costs. Let's walk inside the house. I'm looking at the floor plan and the photos here.
Mm-hmm.
It's open concept, obviously, high ceilings. But I want to talk about the floors.
The ceramic tile.
Yes. The listing makes a really big deal about ceramic tile throughout the main living areas. No carpet in the high traffic zones.
Again, this is form following function. If you have ever tried to maintain wall-to-wall carpet in a humid, sandy environment like Central Florida, you know it is an absolute nightmare.
Oh, I can imagine.
It traps moisture, it traps sand, it holds on to allergens.
Probably smells like a wet dog eventually.
It does. Tile is hypoallergenic, it's cool to the touch, which helps that passive cooling we just mentioned, and it's incredibly durable. If you are coming back from the pool with wet feet, you don't want to worry about ruining a rug. It fully supports that indoor-outdoor lifestyle.
Speaking of the interior, the kitchen looks like it is set up for people who actually cook.
Yeah.
It's an eat-in kitchen, walk-in pantry, built-in oven. But there was this subtle detail in the utility list that I think is even more telling about the quality of life here.
Yeah.
Did you catch the water system?
The reverse osmosis system, yes.
I assume that was just a fancy water filter. Is it really a big deal?
It is a huge deal in this specific region. Florida tap water is generally safe to drink, but it is often very hard. It has a high mineral content, calcium, and sometimes you get that sulfur smell.
That egg smell.
Right, the egg smell you hear people complain about.
Yeah, I've tasted that before on vacation. It is not great.
It's really not. So a reverse osmosis system is a serious piece of hardware. It forces water through a semi-permeable membrane to literally remove dissolved solids. It's not just a Brita pitcher you buy at the grocery store.
Right.
Finding one pre-installed means the previous owner actually cared about the daily details. It saves you about $2,000 to $3,000 right out of the gate, and it means your morning coffee is going to taste vastly better on day one.
See, that's the kind of hidden value I was looking for in this dossier. Now, I want to talk about the layout of the bedrooms. We mentioned it's a two-bedroom house, but the primary suite, I mean, they're calling it a sanctuary in the listing description.
Marketing fluff aside, the layout is highly instructive of how people want to live today.
It is massive, and the bathroom is set up like a high-end spa. Split dual vanities so you aren't bumping elbows while brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
A dedicated sit-down makeup area, and a shower that looks like you could park a compact car inside it. But I noticed no tub.
The no-tub trend is accelerating fast, especially in 55-plus communities. It's purely about accessibility. Stepping over a high tub wall is a major slip hazard as you age.
Makes sense.
A zero-entry or low-threshold walk-in shower is significantly safer and honestly feels more luxurious. It's future-proofing the home for your own mobility. But the real genius here, and I rarely use that word for a closet, is the connection point.
You're talking about the smart design feature.
I am.
The primary closet has a door that goes directly into the laundry room.
It is the single best workflow improvement in modern home design. Just think about the laundry cycle in a normal house.
Okay.
You take your clothes off in the bedroom or the bathroom, you put them in a hamper, you haul that heavy hamper down a hallway, maybe through the kitchen to the laundry room, you wash them, you dry them, then you haul it all the way back.
But here, it's a closed loop.
It's a seamless pass-through. Dirty clothes go on one side, clean clothes come out the other. It is hyper-efficient, but it's also a fundamental principle of universal design.
Universal design.
Designing environments to be usable by all people to the greatest extent possible without the need for adaptation. As you age, eliminating the need to carry a 30-pound laundry basket across the house is a legitimate safety feature.
So it's laziness masquerading as safety, or safety masquerading as luxury.
It's both. And that is exactly the sweet spot of this type of active adult housing. It feels high-end, but it's secretly very pragmatic.
Speaking of high-end, let's go outside.
Right.
Because the listing says the house is 1,958 square feet.
Yeah.
But in Florida, that number feels a little misleading if you don't count the lanai.
Correct. The gross living area technically only counts the air-conditioned space. But this house features an enclosed, screened, extended lanai.
And looking at the photos, this isn't just a concrete slab with some cheap patio furniture. It has custom pavers, a mounted television.
It's basically an outdoor living room. In this climate, that is a 300-square-foot bonus room that you are going to use 10 months out of the year. The screening is essential, too. It keeps the bugs out, specifically the mosquitoes and palmetto bugs, while still letting the cross breeze in.
The listing also notes the home is south-facing. I know in photography, lighting matters. But why does it matter for a house listing?
It's all about the sun arc. In the northern hemisphere, a south-facing backyard gets the most consistent, direct sunlight throughout the entire day. If you have a pool or a lanai, you want that southern exposure so you aren't sitting in the dark shade at 2 in the afternoon.
But doesn't that make the house way hotter?
It certainly can. That's why the covered lanai is so crucial. It shades the sliding glass doors from direct solar gain while still keeping the backyard bright. It's a careful balancing act. And did you notice the privacy features out there? It specifically says vinyl fence.
Yeah, white vinyl. Very sterile looking, but I guess it's effective.
And zero maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
Wood rots in the Florida humidity. Iron rusts near the salt air. Vinyl just exists. It washes completely clean with a pressure washer or a hose. It's that lock and leave mentality again. You really don't want to be outstaining a wooden fence when you are 75 years old.
Okay, so we have the house. It's solid, it's energy efficient, it's designed for seamless flow. But honestly, you don't buy this house just for the house.
No, you
We
don't.
buy it for the neighborhood, or rather the lagoon.
The lagoon life. This is the big headline grabber.
The source material mentions a 15-acre Mirada lagoon. 15 acres. That is enormous. Crystal clear water, sandy beaches, swim-up bars. But here is the thing that absolutely breaks my brain.
We were in San Antonio, Florida.
Exactly, which, for those who don't know the geography, is not on the coast. It is practically cow country. It's inland.
This is the concept of inland resortification. Traditionally, Florida real estate value was completely dictated by proximity to the ocean. The closer to the salt, the higher the price. But the coast has major problems now.
Hurricanes, salt spray, eating the paint off your car, insane tourist traffic.
And insurance, astronomical insurance rates. So developers have figured out a brilliant hack. Buy cheaper land, inland, literally pasture land, and use technology to build a better ocean. These crystal lagoons use ultrasonic pulses to keep the water pristine with roughly 100 times fewer chemicals than a standard swimming pool.
Wait, ultrasonic pulses?
Yeah, it's a proprietary technology. It allows them to maintain massive bodies of water in this turquoise Caribbean state without it turning into a green swamp or a harsh chemical bath.
So you get the Caribbean water, but you are 40 minutes from the nearest shark.
And more importantly, you are 40 minutes from the immediate storm surge zone. That is the ultimate trade-off here. You are trading natural nature for a highly controlled, engineered simulation of nature.
And it isn't just the water. The amenities list is stacked. Clubhouse, pool, modern fitness center, restaurant, bar, pickleball, tennis. And the listing explicitly mentions a golf cart-friendly path connecting everything.
That connectivity is vital. It fundamentally changes the psychology of the neighborhood. Think about it. If you have to get in your SUV to drive to the gym, you might not go. It feels like a chore.
Right.
But if you can hop in an electric golf cart and zip over in 3 minutes, it becomes a seamless part of your daily routine. It makes a massive, sprawling community feel like a small, intimate town.
It kind of feels like a college campus for seniors.
Or a luxury cruise ship that just never leaves the dock.
But like any cruise ship, you have to pay the gratuities. We need to do a serious reality check on the financials here, because $445,000 is the sticker price, but the monthly nut to keep this place running seems really high.
It is high. Let's break down the carrying costs, because this is exactly where buyers get blindsided. You have the mortgage, obviously, but then you have the HOA fee, $318 a month, plus an other fee of $143.
Good, roughly $460 a month just in fees. That is over $5,000 a year for the privilege of living there.
Right. Now, you have to ask yourself, what is the value exchange? The listing says cable TV and internet are included. That's maybe $100 or $120 of baseline value right there. But the really big one is ground maintenance.
No mowing.
No mowing, no edging, no fertilizing, no mulching. For an active adult who wants to travel or who just physically doesn't want to push a heavy mower in 90-degree heat, that is worth a tremendous amount of money. It quite literally buys you freedom.
I see that. But then I saw the tax bill in the dossier. The 2025 tax bill was $8,156 for a $445,000 house. That seems incredibly steep compared to other states or even older parts of Florida.
It is steep, and a huge chunk of that is likely the CDD fee.
We see CDD in Florida listings all the time. Break that down for us. What actually is it?
CDD stands for Community Development District. Basically, when a developer wants to build a massive project like Mirada with a 15-acre artificial lagoon, huge entrance gates, and miles of paved trails, they don't pay for that infrastructure entirely out of pocket.
That makes sense.
They take out a municipal bond, a massive loan, to build it up front.
And who pays back that loan?
You do, the homeowner. The debt is attached to the land itself. You pay it back over 20 or 30 years as part of your annual property taxes.
Wow. So when you look at that beautiful, crystal clear lagoon, you aren't just looking at a fun amenity. You are literally looking at a debt obligation.
Precisely. You are paying for your share of that lagoon, whether you swim in it or not. The listing mentions additional tax assessments of $1,900 per year. That is almost certainly the CDD debt service.
So if you are a hermit who just stays inside and watches Netflix all day, this is a terrible financial decision.
Oh, financially disastrous. You are directly subsidizing the lifestyle of the pickleball players outside your window. You have to actively use the amenities to break even on the value proposition.
Let's talk about the value trajectory, though. The house sold in November 2021 for $349,600. Now, 4 years later, it is listed at $445,000. That's nearly a $100,000 gain.
That's about 27% appreciation in 4 years. That is very healthy. It tracks with the general Florida market, but it specifically shows that despite the high fees, despite the CDD and the heavy HOA, the demand for this turnkey lifestyle is incredibly robust. People are more than willing to pay a premium to have their lifestyle perfectly packaged up and handed to them.
But there is a catch regarding the location. And this is a big one, the walk score.
0.
Literally 0 out of 100.
You cannot walk to a grocery store. You cannot walk to a local coffee shop that isn't the one owned inside the complex. You are utterly 100% dependent on a vehicle.
It's an island. A luxury island, sure, but an island.
And for some buyers, that is a hard deal breaker. If you value urban walkability, the vibrancy of a city street, or, just stumbling upon a cool little vintage bookshop, this place will feel like a prison.
Right.
But for the target demographic here, safety and predictability often vastly outweigh walkability. They drive their car to the big box store to get groceries, and they drive their golf cart to the pool. They are perfectly fine with that closed loop.
Let's zoom out to the environmental risk again, because we talked about the house being built like a bunker. But what about the land it actually sits on? The report gives it a flood factor of 1 out of 10.
In Florida real estate, that is the holy grail. Minimal flood risk.
Because we are inland.
Elevation really matters here. San Antonio, Florida is part of the Pasco Ridge. It is significantly higher than the coastal areas. With insurance companies currently fleeing Florida or dropping homes in flood zones left and right, having a flood factor of 1 is a massive financial asset. It makes the property insurable, it keeps your premiums manageable.
But we cannot ignore the other numbers in the environmental report. Heat factor, 9 out of 10. Wind factor, 10 out of 10.
Extreme and extreme.
So you are safe from the water rising, but you are still directly in the path of the wind, and the sun is actively trying to melt you.
The heat is unavoidable in Florida. That's exactly why you have the high-efficiency HVAC mentioned in the utilities, the ceiling fans, and the thermal mass of the tile roof we discussed earlier. The wind factor of 10 out of 10 likely refers to the baseline potential for hurricane-force winds in the region. But remember the bone section we talked about.
The concrete block and the heavy tile roof.
Exactly. You can't control the wind factor, but you can control the structural integrity. This house is engineered to shrug off a Category 3 storm. An older wood frame house on the coast might be a complete teardown after the exact same storm. This house is built to stand.
So putting it all together, we have a $445,000 bunker with a fake beach, high taxes, but virtually zero maintenance. Who is this actually for?
It's for the optimizer.
The optimizer.
The retiree who has run all the numbers, not just the financial numbers, but the energy numbers. They don't want to spend the remaining years fixing a leaky roof or worrying about a storm surge flood. They are willing to pay a premium, that high monthly fee, to essentially outsource the friction of life. They are buying time.
It really is a massive shift from downsizing to upscaling amenities. You aren't buying a smaller house to save money. You are buying a smaller house to free up time to go play pickleball.
And to socialize. That is the other hidden value we really haven't touched on enough. Loneliness is a huge issue for seniors. These communities are highly engineered engines of socialization.
That's a great way to put it.
You are almost forced to interact. The mailboxes are clustered together. The golf cart paths are shared. The lagoon is this central gathering point. You are essentially paying for a built-in social network.
Seeing it that way changes the math a bit. You're buying a social safety net.
Exactly.
Which brings us to the end of our deep dive into 31493 Cannon Rush Drive. We have unpacked the smart closet, the expensive lagoon, the municipal debt behind the beauty, and the zero walk score. But I want to leave you with a thought about where this is all going.
What's on your mind?
We are seeing developers go out into the middle of cow pastures miles and miles from the actual ocean and build massive 15-acre artificial seas. We are creating these Truman Show-style bubbles because the actual environment, the real coast, is becoming too expensive and too risky to live on.
We are geoengineering our own inland paradise because the real one is getting too volatile.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So are we witnessing the true future of Florida real estate? A future where the neighborhood creates the environment? Are we going to see more inland Miradas and far fewer beachfront condos?
If the insurance market has anything to say about it, I think the answer is absolutely yes. The future of the Florida beach might just be in the middle of a field in Pasco County.
A fascinating and maybe slightly dystopian thought to chew on while you check your real estate apps. That is it for this deep dive. Thanks for listening.
See you next time.